Hello, and welcome to the Business Council of Westchester Member Spotlight. I am Linda Tyler and your host today. The BCW is the county's largest and most influential business membership organization, offering over 100 events, programs, and panel discussions yearly. I'd like to thank our sponsor today, Tompkins Community Bank. Tompkins Community Bank is proud to support the Business Council of Westchester. For generations, Tompkins has helped the communities we serve thrive and grow. As a community-based financial institution, we consider it our duty to provide innovative financial solutions for local families and businesses as they navigate their financial journeys. At Tompkins, you don't have to choose between business as usual. Instead, choose business accomplished and business accelerated with cash management solutions that help you manage your growing business. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Today, we're joined by an extraordinary guest whose work has helped countless professionals, from broadcasters and executives to athletes and public figures, show up with clarity, composure, and genuine confidence. We're excited to welcome Patricia Stark, president of Patricia Stark Communications and founder of the Confidence Method. I am your host today, Linda Tyler, Vice President of Membership and Programs for the Business Council of Westchester. Patricia is a nationally recognized communication expert, author, media trainer, and keynote speaker known for helping people strengthen their presence, elevate their delivery, and communicate with authenticity, especially under pressure. Her signature confidence approach blends the science of calm with the skill of confidence, giving individuals practical tools to perform at their best in every situation. Welcome, Patricia.
Linda, it's so wonderful to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. We can't wait to hear what you have to say to share with us, because I think we've all been in situations where we've been nervous to speak or we've had to prepare for something and we're not quite sure what we should be focusing on. So we're very excited to hear what you're going to talk about today. And I thought we could begin by telling our audience a little bit about yourself and your work.
Yes, absolutely. So I had worked in broadcasting for many years and corporate media for many years. And then by default, I started coaching and training people. I was on a job in New Jersey for KPMG, and I was hired to be an on-camera moderator and interviewer for them. And several other executives came down and had to be interviewed, or some of them even had to read some of teleprompter. And people were just stiff and nervous, and they really weren't getting what they were hoping for out of some of the executives. So I just started coaching them on the spot and trying to help them through it. And frankly, I didn't want to be there till midnight. So I had it in my best interest to help these people do a little bit better job. And it went really well. And they called me back about 2 weeks later and said, hey, we like you as an on-camera presenter, but that worked really well. Would you ever come back and just coach and train our people? And that was my light bulb moment where I hung my shingle and started doing the coaching and training for both media and public speaking and communication skills in general.
Well, I love your story, and I've worked with you before. I know many people who have, and I think you've got this incredible ability to bring out the best in people. That's quite a talent, and it's something you've been able to do so well with your clients and the people you work with. And this dovetails a little bit into my next question, which is, and you've talked about it a little bit now, but what inspired you to pursue a career in public speaking and personal branding? Because that's so important, right? Our brand is who we are. It's who we represent as a company and ourselves especially. So branding is key for every business executive.
Yeah, well, I think that the root of it all was I was someone who had terrible social anxiety and anxiety in general as a child. I can remember not being able to raise my hand in class and breaking out in a sweat and having, kind of that out of body moment and experience. And, it affected my relationships. It affected even my grades. When you don't believe in yourself or you don't think that you're enough, and then you're challenged with any kind of outward facing communication, whether it's speaking in front of a room room, raising your hand, or any of that, it really can have a huge impact on your success and the opportunities. And as I developed my own confidence and matured as a human being, like I can remember I wanted to raise my hand in class and I just was terrified. And, to be able to work through that on my own and finally get to that place of self-trust and self-acceptance and not having to be perfect, but just being enough, and that kind of belief really changed my whole world. And I think that's and thank you for saying that, first of all, about, having that ability to help people the way that I do. And I think that it is because I will never forget what it was like to feel those feelings that I did when I was younger.
And I will say this, and I've known you for several years now, I would never have known that was a fear or something that you struggled with. You just come across so warm and confident and just beautiful inside and outside in your approach and how you work with people and interact with them. So it's I think, a really interesting story that you took something that you struggled with as a child and really turned it into your passion and your career, your North Star.
Well, I appreciate that. And truly, it is, the whole world opens up differently. And when you look at yourself differently, the world looks at you differently. And it just had a profound change in my life. And I really look at it as it's kind of a sacred thing, like a calling to have the opportunity to do that for others. And I know that might sound a little over the top, but when you're not confident in your internal communications, that self-talk, that visualization, your self-concept, it really has an impact on your communication skills, your interpersonal skills, your relationship skills. And you and I know that those three things really determine our success overall.
1,000%. And it's something I think most people do struggle with to one degree or another. And how you manage it or overcome it is huge in both professionally, of course, our professional lives and our personal lives. And let's talk a little bit about who have been the biggest influence in shaping your communication style.
So that's a unusual kind of answer to have just something that's basic there, because it's been a process over so many years. It was, if I think, my knee-jerk reaction to that would be, I had one professor in college when I was very shy, and I was actually taking a public speaking class with her, and I'd be shaking in my boots. And she just was this person that was so full of life, so full of joy, so giving. And she, made sure that when she talked to you, she wasn't pointing out what was wrong, what you were lacking, what you were missing. It was more about, getting yourself regulated in your breathing, really making sure that you were trying to be other focused and not so self-focused, focusing on what the message was and if you had information that could help other people. So I guess I'd have to say that she was probably one of the first people that I remember. And then just my relationships with my husband and his family and friends, people that were more outgoing, that had more confidence, definitely shaped me in my life. And then I would always tend to gravitate towards people that had genuine confidence. And those are the people that would always want to help others. People that were cocky and arrogant, I learned quickly, were not the people that I wanted to associate with, because they were not the givers. They were not the people that wanted to uplift and inspire other people. So I would say that I learned early who was making me feel, who was comfortable to be around. And that's one of the keys to communication, is not only your self-comfort, but if you're good at making others feel comfortable and feel welcome, that solves a lot of problems.
It truly does. And it also draws people to you, right? If you're a person who makes people feel welcome, makes people feel confident, makes people feel warm, people are drawn to that. So that's a very good point about what's important to think about when you're developing or trying to really strengthen your communication style. And I think you'll agree with me when I say this. People may say, oh, but I never do any public speaking, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not standing in front of a crowd. But really, it applies to anything, right? How you speak at a staff meeting, or if you are pitching an idea to your boss or to a client, those all are opportunities where your speaking style and the way you conduct yourself really make an impact in your life, correct?
Absolutely. I like to say, unless you're standing in a room by yourself talking to yourself, you are public speaking.
Absolutely. And we do it all day long when we think about it. And it's really,
Right.
and it's a great way, how we communicate what we're trying to get our point across, what we're trying to convey that's important to us. And I think this also dovetails into my next question, which is, what do you think makes a speaker truly memorable?
I think it's really authenticity. It is that they know how to pull you in with a story rather than just pushing out information. I mean, there's really only two ways to communicate. You can push, unload numbers, statistics, try to get people to hear what you have to say, or you can pull them in with relatable stories, let them know that you understand their pain points, let them know that you are authentic and human. Jerry Seinfeld used to say when someone would ask him, how do you find that confidence walking out onto a stage where, that's like the toughest crowd, right? You've got hecklers, you've got people drinking, you've got people saying, okay, funny man, make me laugh. It's really not the audience that you would want to have if you were worrying about being a good public speaker. And, he just said that before he walks out onto that stage, he just decides, you know what? I love these people. I'm just going to walk out on stage and just say, I love being with them. I love sharing with them. I love making them feel and think. And I'm not separate from them. I'm here as part of them. And I think that's also something that really happens, is that we create these barriers, whether it's a podium or the stage, or we're standing up in front of the room, and we seem to almost feel like it's us against them, and they're on the other side and we're up here and the spotlight is on us. And I think that, anytime that you can get out from behind that podium, come and walk among them, go and walk and square off with different sides of the room, depending on how big the room is. But to feel that you're in it with them, not separate from them, I think is a huge point.
That's a good point. The audience is my friend. These are people. They could be my neighbors or my colleagues or my friends. And that connection from the beginning, I think you're right. It must make a big difference in easing anxiety. And the storytelling part of it too, I think, is important, right? If you're speaking and you can take whatever you're doing and craft it into a story, it makes it, just that more appealing to hear. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, we love stories since we were kids. I mean, isn't that when everybody really stopped? I mean, if they rolled the VCR or the film strip into the room, everybody's like, woo, story time. And it was probably something that was teaching us something, and we didn't even realize it at the time because we were just so enthralled or enveloped in, oh, here is a great story that, we're going to listen to now. And I think that really makes such a big difference to be in that mode. It's also about being fully present in the moment. It's kind of presence over performance, self-trust over self-preservation. And when you're really present and you're not thinking about outcome, you're not thinking about, oh, I hope that this goes well, I hope I don't screw this up, what's going to happen afterwards, or not seeing yourself do well, all of those things take us out of the present moment. And, worrying about things leading up to the event, the repercussions, or what's going to happen afterwards, the price that we're putting on things, all of these things take us out of just being fully present in the moment. And when you really are just present and being with other people, whether it's a job interview, a presentation, a pitch meeting, a sales meeting, meeting with a new client, being in front of an audience, any of these communication situations, if you really practice on listening, being fully present, tuning out the noise, tuning out the judgment, start getting out of your own way and being fully in the moment and fully focused with the other human beings that are present, you almost don't have time to get in your own way.
That's such a good point. Focus on the here and now. Don't worry about the before. Don't worry about the after. Just think about the moment and what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to convey. This is the perfect place for us to stop. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsor, and we'll be right back. Tompkins Community Bank is proud to support the Business Council of Westchester. For generations, Tompkins has helped the communities we serve thrive and grow. As a community-based financial institution, we consider it our duty to provide innovative financial solutions for local families and businesses as they navigate their financial journeys. At Tompkins, you don't have to choose between business as usual. Instead, choose business accomplished and business accelerated with cash management solutions that help you manage your growing business. Tompkins, your bank of choice. For listeners who are new to it, what is the confidence method and what inspired you to create it, and how does it differ from traditional confidence coaching?
Yeah, I think that really in one idea, the differentiator would be that confidence helps people switch out of stress mode and into self-trust so that their communication, their presence, and their performance really becomes more natural instead of forced. And it's really unlike traditional confidence or mental toughness approaches that kind of push you to power through. The confidence method builds a more grounded presence. And it really helps you to speak more authentically and really just show up steady and self-trusting rather than trying to kind of be bigger, be louder, be stronger. It's more about being more centered, being more grounded, really being more yourself. And a lot of it starts with our physiology.
You know, like you said, it's just be you. That's what we all should try to do, right? Just be ourselves. And that brings up a point. Across the clients you work with, from media and business professionals to students, what common fears do you see? Because I think everyone gets nervous from time to time. And what are the biggest myths about confidence?
Yeah, I think that most of the fear that comes up is the fear of not being enough in some way, shape, or form. Definitely the fear of judgment. The fear of messing up is a big one. You know, everybody is kind of like, wow, this moment matters. I can't screw this up. And then what is their subconscious here? Screw this up, because that's the way that our brain thinks. And it really is just this biology trigger. You know, so many people don't want to tolerate or feel very uncomfortable by a heart rate that is elevated, by that breathing that can happen when we are not in control of our physiology. And then, you know, I mean, there is a study that shows about 70% of our communication skills and our cognitive, our language skills runs in a deficit when we're in a stress mode or this adrenaline response. So it really is important to figure out and learn techniques of how do I get my breathing in control? How do I start with my nervous system and take control of that through the way that I'm going to relax my body and relax my vocal cords and again, get that breathing down, because, you know, when the body isn't calm, there is no way that the mind can be confident. And our body, that physical reaction will always happen because it's coming from an emotional place. So if we have a fear of judgment, have a fear of failure, or have a fear of not being enough, our body is going to react first. And that even, you know, when I took my body language certification, it showed how even the way we use our body is influenced by our thoughts and emotions before we even say a word. So we've got to work on that inner world and that physiology of getting that in control first. Because so many people will say, well, just be yourself or just relax. But if your body isn't cooperating, you can't concentrate and do all of those other tasks that you need to do to feel and think on your feet.
1,000%. I think that phrase brain freeze, we've all had it, where
Yes.
you're nervous about something and you know what you were going to say 30 seconds ago and it just stops. So it's a very, very good point. And you know, as we talk about this, what are some practical tools our listeners can try today? And what are those mindset shifts or mood elevating practices do you recommend to stay calm and grounded under pressure, especially in today's world? You know, what are some good tips or pieces of advice people can try?
Yeah, one thing that I really like that's kind of like a trifecta. It's like three things you can do almost simultaneously that can help you to start getting your body and your heart rate under control. And that is, we've all heard about taking deep breaths and breathing exercises, but oftentimes we're not even breathing correctly. I actually started pursuing a breathwork certification, and studies show that the majority of adults after the age of 5 stop belly breathing. We end up breathing in our chest, in our nasal passage, in our throat. Like, think about, like, when is the last time that you really took this deep breath to where your belly came out? Like, you ever see like little babies and little kids when they breathe, their bellies hanging out all over the place. And then, but as adults, we're like, suck in that gut, watch that muffin top. Even when you see people like show that they're taking a deep breath or inhaling, what do? They puff out their chest. So we stop getting deep enough. And when we take that full breath from that lower place, from below the belly button, as if we were laying on our back, and we put, like, let's say I do this technique sometimes with even children, where we'll put a little stuffed animal on their belly when they're laying down, and we can actually see, is their breath actually rising? Is their belly actually rising? Are they getting that deep enough breath based on how that stuffed animal will rise and fall? And to get that oxygen from that deeper place absolutely will calm your heart rate, and it brings more oxygen to your brain, which helps you think straight and helps more clarity of mind. So 3 things that you can do at the same time would be to watch how you're breathing, breathe in for 4, hold it for 8, and then release. No, hold it for 4 and then release for 8. So you're breathing in and you're releasing it longer. But when you're breathing in, I want you to pull from that fuller, expanding your diaphragm, expanding your belly. And then I want you to relax your tongue and your mouth, because we don't realize how much tension we have. We're clenching our jaw, we're clenching our teeth, we're getting that dry mouth and that cotton mouth. When you relax your tongue for a second, it relaxes the 40 facial muscles in your face. It relaxes that clenching jaw. You get that feeling of, okay, my soft palate, my tongue is resting in my mouth, so I can now breathe from that deeper place and go down deeper. And you can even say this word, mood. When you do that, it gets you coming up from breathing and even pulling your words from a deeper place. And then, speaking of heading down into a deeper place, now I want you to be aware of where your feet are. And if you're sitting, put them both flat on the ground. If you are standing, really focus on, how do my feet feel on the ground right now? Almost like you're rooting yourself like a tree, and those roots in the ground are going down deep. We could even go as far as saying grounding exercises show when people go outside and walk in the grass and get their feet in the grass, that this actually helps everything from stress to mental well-being, all of these things. But those 3 things I would recommend to try. Get that breathing, get that belly breathing, take that longer exhale, relax your tongue in your mouth, and really feel the floor, feel the ground that you are standing on. All of these things will start to get your breathing under control, calm your heart rate, and they also, by doing them, distract you from the monkey mind of, the worry of the rumor, going over stuff over and over in your mind. So it really serves multiple purposes to do. And this is not something that takes a lot of time either, which people really like.
You know what? I'm going to try it the next time I have to speak in front of a group, because you're absolutely right. If your entire body, almost from the top of your head all the way down to your toes and through your arms and your hands, if everything is feeling calm, everything else clicks into place, right? It just creates a whole new sense of aura around us as we're then beginning to make that moment where we're speaking in front of a group. And a group can be 10 people or 1,000 people. Regardless, it can be a little nerve-wracking. I want to thank you today for being with us here and to share with us your experiences, your story, and also some really great ideas to take with us the next time we have to speak in our group, because we all do it more than we realize in everyday lives. And I've just had the pleasure of working with you myself, and you really do have this incredible incredible ability to bring out the best in your clients and to really give them that confidence that they can go out and speak and make an impact and leave that impression that they want to leave on their audiences. So thank you again for being with us today, Patricia.
Well, Linda, I appreciate it. And just to give you some feedback, I think you do a phenomenal job. And I love your presence, your voice, and you really put people at ease. And this felt so much like a conversation. And that is a testament to your interview skills. So congratulations on all of your success.
Well, thank you so much. You just made my day. And it was a wonderful conversation. I am really excited to share it with our audience. And thank you again, Patricia. It was great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more about the Business Council of Westchester, please go to thebcw.org.
The BCW Podcast Network. Build, connect,